What's up, everybody? It's your boy M-Carp, aka Mario Carpentieri. That's your boy Soupy, aka Nate Campbell,
Yes,
and welcome to
sir.
the second episode of All You Can Talk Sports. All right, Nate, you started off
How you
today.
doing today, Mario? How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good, bro.
You know,
You started off.
I usually save the best for last, but I gotta talk football first because we gotta talk about our winners and losers. Mario, you and I need to talk, man. You and I need to talk. You already know who's all my losers, bro. You
Yeah.
already know. Mario, I before we get into our winners and losers, I have to ask you a question, man. What's wrong with the Vikings? What's going on with them?
So they came off of last week they lost to Seattle basically in the last 15 seconds of the game. Russell Wilson, he did his job. He went 94 yards down the field, did Russell Wilson things, scored a touchdown at the last second to DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is turning into an insane player now. Except we're not talking about last week. We're talking about this week. So you think like a loss like that, even though they lost, they were 1 point away from an upset. You think they come in with that type of momentum and they like kind of beat the brakes off of Atlanta, but they didn't do that. So I mean, personally for me, it started with Kirk. Okay, zero touchdowns in the first half with three picks. It's unacceptable, especially the fact that you got the ball back the first half. I mean, you got the ball the first half, and then the second half, Atlanta gets the ball back. So for you to be down 24-0 in the first half, that's a problem right there. That's the
Right.
beginning of the problem. And Kirk Cousins, he's I heard another YouTuber say this, but he is the king of garbage stats. He'll put up, you'll look at his stat line and he'll be have like 346 yards with three TDs and three interceptions. You're like, well, the three interceptions is bad, but the three TDs and the 346 yards ain't that bad.
Right.
It doesn't mean nothing because all those stats came when you had no chance of winning. It's not the problem. I mean, you can put blame on like Dalvin Cook wasn't there. That's not the issue neither. Okay, I know it's not Justin Jefferson because he had 166 yards with two TDs. It's not Adam Thielen because Adam Thielen had three receptions for 51 yards and a touchdown. It's not him. Honestly, the two biggest guys to blame right now for that loss right there was Kirk Cousins and that Minnesota Vikings defense. That secondary, again, you cannot let Julio Jones gain momentum. And I know that's tough to say. Obviously, we're not in the field, so we can't say. And I know Julio Jones is one of the best wide receivers in the game. But you cannot, but you have to have a game plan coming in to stop Julio Jones. And there's no excuse for the Vikings because the other four consecutive times we played Atlanta, Julio Jones has been stopped. Okay. There's no excuse. Mike Zimmer knows exactly how to stop Julio Jones. He's done it four consecutive times. I think Julio Jones only scored one touchdown against us in his whole career before today's game. So with that being said, defense is the biggest part to blame. That defense has been terrible this year. Kirk Cousins is the other part to blame because he just wasn't making his throws. And when he was making stats and he was producing stats, it was too late.
And it's disappointing because I
Uh,
I had the Vikings winning that game. The Falcons. What do you expect? They haven't been a great team for a long time now. They had 24 for 36 completion attempts, 343 yards. Okay, not bad. Three touchdowns, not bad either. Three interceptions. There's a problem with that. Three interceptions in the game. That's crazy. Like you said, your defense wasn't that great. You had a sack. That's not bad. No touchdowns. I don't expect anything on the touchdown side for defense. They don't really get the touchdowns as much as the offense does. You're receiving and rushing 13 attempts, 32 yards, no touchdowns. That's something's got to give. Something's got to give. It's just not looking good on either side, and I expected a lot this game, and it's a damn shame they let us down.
I mean, the only thing I can add on to what you just said is the Vikings are going on a bye next week, and then they'll be coming back to face the Packers. So this is Kirk's running out of time, man. It's not like last year where he was doing borderline, and then everybody was judging him, and then he just balled out for like the next 7 weeks. It's not like that this year. You're down 1-5. Now, hey, I remember a few years ago before the Chiefs got Patrick Mahomes, they had a 1-5 record and they ended up going to the playoffs. So I'm not counting out the Vikings yet. But Kirk Cousins' time is running out. He has to ball out for the remainder of the season, or he might not even see the playoffs
Right.
this week. Hell, if he don't ball out this season, he might not be in a purple uniform next season. So Kirk Cousins got to do something. He's got to do something. That defense got to improve this bye week. They gotta, this bye week, it's a refresh. You're halfway through the season. Make sure the other half is fantastic. And
And
that's the
my
only thing I can add.
and my next loser for NFL Week 6, the New York Jets.
They play.
Why? Because this team is so bad. They played the Dolphins and didn't score a point. 21 for 44 completion attempts, 186 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, come on now. I know it's the Dolphins and all, and by the way, shout out to Tua Tagovailoa, man. Welcome to the NFL, man. This is what it's like. But come on, man. 186 yards, 0 touchdowns, no field goals. They got a couple of sacks. That's good, I guess. Rushing is 22 attempts, 115 yards. I know it's the Jets and they're a bad team. We all know this. They're 0-6. They haven't been anything good in a decade, 2 decades, I don't know. But someone's got to give here. The coaching staff is absolutely terrible. They let go of Italian Le'Veon Bell. That alone deserves a loss. That's a big loser right there. That's just a big loser.
Right. And then one thing I want to add is, these years for Sam Darnold on the New York Jets, he hasn't produced the numbers that Josh Allen has, or he hasn't he really had, you know what I'm saying? He hasn't produced, the only quarterback in that draft I think that has produced less than him is Josh Rosen. But you know what? Given that, I don't want to blame Sam Darnold fully.
Absolutely.
He's in a bad team. You know what I'm saying? He's on a bad team. And honestly, it's too soon to be blaming Sam Darnold for anything.
Right.
I think he's going to be. No, you go.
You also have to understand Sam Darnold doesn't have anything to work with. He barely has any talent.
Right.
His coaching staff makes some very boneheaded mistakes. It's just tough for him to kind of lift the team up on his shoulders. One person can't do that.
I agree. You got Frank Gore, who's good, but again, he's not prime Frank Gore.
Yeah, he's
Jamison
old
Crowder's
now.
your only good receiver. But the problem I'm having with this is Sam. It's so early for Sam Darnold. I think he's going to be out of New York next season.
I agree.
I think Jets will get the first pick. I think Trevor decides I'm going to declare for the NFL draft. He'll go to the Jets. But first things first, you got to get rid of Adam Gase. You have to.
Absolutely.
That's a big thing right there. He hasn't had nothing good has came out of it. You signed Le'Veon Bell to a big contract. He left. Jamal Adams was your only hope on defense. He left
him.
Yeah, the only guy on there is the only good defensive player on there I think left is safety May, who's a really good safety. But again, if you don't fix the problems in New York, he's going to be gone too.
Absolutely.
So you guys, your third loser, Nate?
My third loser, the Green Bay Packers. Oh man, this was a tough one for me, man, because I really needed the Packers to beat the Bucs, man, because the Bucs are in my Panthers division. I don't want those guys in first, but it happened, and I gotta live with it. So oh man, Aaron Rodgers I watched the first half of that game. I could not watch the rest of it, man. The passing, 16 for 35 completion attempts, 160 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Oh my God.
I'm gonna let you talk this whole topic. I'm not gonna budge in because I got Aaron Rodgers on my losers. I'll explain my losers after you're done.
0 touchdown, 160 yards. First of all, this is not Aaron Rodgers. I know this is his first bad game, so I'll give him a freebie for that. But come on, man. The Bucs defense, it's solid, but it's not that great. It's breakable. Right. It's breakable. And they just couldn't do anything. And you know what? Rushing attempts weren't that great. 21 of them, 94 yards. They got a touchdown out of it, so there's one good. Receiving's not that great either. 16 receptions, 160 yards, 0 touchdowns. They had a fumble. It's, I'll give them a freebie because this was their first bad game technically. The Packers are still
Right.
a playoff contending team, and in my eyes, in a lot of ways, they're a Super Bowl contender right now. I don't want to admit it, but they are.
Right.
This game, man. I hope they don't do this next game because that's a bad sign, man. That's a really bad sign.
Well, look
Really,
here.
really bad sign.
Well, look, here's what I'll do. Because you mentioned the Packers, I'll list my three losers. I'll start with Aaron Rodgers, considering we're on that topic, basically. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers, 46% completion rating. It's not what you want to see out of him. It's not what he does. Very rarely he does that. He threw two interceptions. One of them went for a pick six. Again, it's not what you want to see out of Aaron Rodgers because it's not what he does. Especially in this type of game against Tom Brady, you kind of want to, and especially that you're an undefeated team, one of the very few left. So you got to make sure you get this win. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't do that. Again, no touchdowns. He didn't throw any touchdowns that game. He threw two picks in the first half, and then he comes back out in the second half and is like, hopefully he has a refresher, but it didn't happen. And I mean, like you can. And another part of that was the rushing. Like their rushing wasn't good neither. So basically, one side wasn't working for the other. If your running game ain't working, your passing game ain't really gonna work. You know what I'm saying? And that in that game, you really don't want to force Aaron Rodgers to throw because he wasn't throwing good. So you got to rely on people like you got to make sure you rely on people like Aaron Jones. You can put Devontae Adams and Valdez Scantling in that conversation because they weren't getting open. They were doing their jobs as wide receivers to get open
Absolutely.
and making it scoring touchdowns. So that's another problem right there. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go the second loser. It's somebody that people like aren't really talking about, but I consider it a loser because this is a game that honestly you could have had a chance of winning, and that's James Robinson, the running back for the Jaguars. That's who I put as my second loser. 12 carries, 29 yards, average 2.4 yards a carry. So in running backs, it's very crucial. Running backs are very crucial because running backs are probably the most versatile position on offense. They
Right.
can, like, now you're starting to see people like Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones. All these guys can also catch the ball too. Derrick Henry is involved in that a little bit too. So when your running game is not working, it's forcing more passing on the throw. When you force more passes, it makes the defense job a lot easier because now they know more passes are coming. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to James Robinson to get the pressure off Gardner Minshew on throwing. And Gardner Minshew, he did all right. He did all right. Was he Minshew mania this week? No, he did all right though. But again, we're going right back to James Robinson because as a running back, it was your job to make sure that Gardner Minshew, um, to take pressure off Gardner Minshew, and he didn't do that. There wasn't no running game, and because of that, they lost to the Detroit Lions, which is a game that they could have won. You know what I'm saying? Kind of start gaining a little bit more momentum for their season. You know.
I 100% agree, man.
And then I'll go
Third
third.
loser.
Oh, you didn't say your third loser?
No, who's your third loser?
Oh, my third loser is the Cleveland Browns, man.
Hmm.
Here you got a team that's going 4-1. You know what I'm saying? They come in, and I understand they played Pittsburgh, and I predicted Pittsburgh was going to win, but I didn't predict they were going to win 38-7. Neither. You know, this was a game that Baker Mayfield really had to prove himself because the Steelers have one of the best rushing defenses in the league. So with that being said, if they have the best rushing defense in the league, again, it forces you to pass. And this was the game that Baker Mayfield was supposed to come in, have a good game passing, whether win or lose, so he can shut up the critics. And he didn't do that. You know, he only had 119 passing yards. He had two interceptions. He had a passing touchdown. But again, those two interceptions beat the one passing touchdown. Rushing, they only had 75 yards. And then you go to their defense. Their defense will go off 38 points. They let go of 129 rushing yards and 3 rushing TDs. That's not the way you're supposed to win a game. Oh, one passing TD. So with that being said, the Cleveland Browns, they came in. This was a division game. This was a chance for them to prove that, hey, we're here to stay. A chance for Kevin Stefanski, who I really do love because he used to be my offensive coordinator. It was a chance for him to come in and be like, hey, look, I can go head to head with some of the best coaches in this league, like Mike Tomlin. And again, they choked under pressure. Is this a one-time thing? Maybe Baker Mayfield will learn from this and grow. But as for week 6, that was my 3 losers. All right, Nate. So let's get off this negative topic. Come on, man. Give me some winners.
All right. My three winners. Number one, Deshaun Watson, man. He went off. I mean, I know he lost that game, but he put up some big numbers. 28 for 37 completion attempts. So could be a little better, but still good nonetheless. 28 completions is great. 335 yards, monster game, man. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. This kid's special, man. This kid's very special. It's a damn shame that Bill O'Brien, tore that team apart. He had so much talent to work on the DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson. He could have added so much around them. And then DeAndre left. Now Deshaun's all by himself. He's got not a lot to work with, other than David Johnson, who's also not that bad, not as good as DeAndre Hopkins. But he had himself a game, even though he lost. I gotta give him my credit for where it's due.
Right. And one thing I want to add to that is I think Deshaun Watson, I think despite the record and what it's showing, I still think he's a top 5, top 10 quarterback in this league.
I 100% agree.
Like top 5 in my opinion, I still think he is, and honestly, the Texans defense didn't do too good, but the offense did good. And I think and it was got taken over by Romeo Crennel, who's an experienced coach in the NFL. And for his first head coach, and for the first what do you call it? The first head coaching jobs since a long time ago. I think it's been like over a decade at this point. He didn't do that bad, especially what he was going up against with that Tennessee offense. Like with the like especially what he was going up against. He went toe to toe with them despite all the big numbers, and they just came up short. But honestly, Deshaun Watson is definitely a winner this week. So give me your other two winners, Nate. Let's go.
My next winner is, I hate that I'm saying this, but whatever. Tom Brady. I'm gonna tell you why. Last week against the Bears, it was brutal. It was brutal. But Tom Brady had a chance to redeem himself to be a legit Super Bowl contender, and he did. And I gotta give him my credit where it's due. 17 for 27 completion attempts. Could be better, but still good nonetheless. 166 yards, kind of lacking, but still good nonetheless. 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He kept the mistakes to a minimum. And that's really all that matters at the end. You keep the mistakes to the minimum, you have a shot at winning, and that's exactly what he did. He put up over 35 points on the board, and he absolutely mauled the Packers, which is something I did not see coming. And you know what? Good for you, man. I'm happy.
See, that's why I disagree with you. I don't think Brady was a winner this week. Was he a loser? No, but he wasn't a winner, and I'll tell you why. Because this is the same Brady. This is the same Brady that we have seen for 20 years. He does Brady things, and he did win the game. Don't get me wrong. I think personally, I think if there's any winners you're gonna take this game, you could say Ronald Jones, you could say the wide receivers, but that offensive line allowed 0 sacks. There were no penalties in that game whatsoever, which means no holding penalties, which are which are very common in the NFL. That offensive line, if anybody, that was winners. But Tom Brady did what he was supposed to do. The third quarter he was kind of lackluster. The stats they're decent, they're average. You know what I'm saying? If he lost, here's the thing though: if Tom Brady lost, this wouldn't be considered a win. If you looked at Tom Brady's stats, this wouldn't be considered a win. And that's why I disagree with you on Tom Brady not being a winner this year. He's not this week. He's not a loser, but he's not a winner neither. I think he's right in the middle. Well, who's your third winner, Nate?
My third winner is the Titans, and here's why. Because these guys are something else, man. I watched that game last night, man. Man, it was incredible. It was incredible to see the Titans go at it like that. 30 for 41 completion attempts, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns, an interception from Ryan Tannehill. That's great numbers. Rushing side, 27 attempts, 263 yards with 2 touchdowns. That's absolutely ridiculous, man. 30 receiving, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns is, oh, man. The defense was a little lacking because the Texans' offense was pretty explosive yesterday, but nonetheless, that Titans team is something else. 5-0 for the second time. They might prove themselves to be a threat to the Chiefs and the Ravens, who are probably the better teams in the AFC right now. I'm excited to see this team play, man. That team's a team to watch, and they're very exciting.
And I'll start with I'll start with Derrick Henry because he was part of my 3 winners. I'll name the rest. But Derrick Henry, in my opinion, was a winner right there. Tannehill could have been a winner, but again, we were only picking 3. And I think what Derrick Henry did on that field Sunday is amazing. Tannehill was great, but what Derrick Henry did was exceptional. You know what I'm saying? Like 22 rushes, 212 yards, not to mention he had a 94-yard rush, and he had he had 2 rushing TDs. Plus, he had 2 receptions for 52 yards, and he was a receiving target. So if you weren't worried about him running, you had to be worried about him receiving after getting those 52 yards. So I mean, like Derrick Henry lit it up, dude. Derrick Henry lit it up yesterday.
I 100% agree.
That whole Titans offense are a bunch of winners, but the biggest winner on that team is Derrick Henry. That is so exceptional. That is so historic. This is not the first time he's done it. This is the funny thing is, this isn't even his best career game. That's the funny part. It's not even his best career game. So that tells you how good of a running back he is overall, not just this season or last season, but just overall. This isn't even his best game. So
I
like
agree.
Derrick Henry, in my opinion, I think he was the biggest winner this week. I'll go to my second winners. My second winner, since you mentioned Tampa Bay, I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay's defense. You look at everything this Tampa Bay offense had, and again, people like, and I said it, I'll admit I said it, and you were kind of saying it too. Their defensive line is good, their linebackers, but the question was their secondary, and the secondary was challenged with the biggest task probably this season, which is going up against Aaron Rodgers, and this secondary did not fail. You tell me another team that made Aaron Rodgers look like that. You tell me another team that picked off Aaron Rodgers twice without giving him 1 touchdown. You tell me a team that held him under 50% completion. You can't. Tampa Bay's defense got to him pressured him so much. Tampa Bay's secondary locked his wide receivers down so much. People like Devontae Adams, who was not easy to lock down. Tampa Bay's defense came in there, pressured Aaron Rodgers, knew what they needed to do to win. They fixed their mistakes from last week against the Bears, and they came out here and they were like, look, that was just a bad game. This is who our defense really is. This is our identity. So the Tampa Bay defense walked into that game and said, look, this is our identity right here, and you got to take us as a threat, because it's not just that offense that can ball out. It's this defense as well. And last but not least, the Pittsburgh Steelers in general. Scoring 38 points, and I know you had doubts last week on Steelers haven't really played nobody, and how they're gonna do against the Browns and everything like that. Well, hey, hope they change your mind, bro, because it's 38-7, man. Like I don't even got to talk about this. And this is a game Ben Roethlisberger did exactly what Tom Brady did. Ben Roethlisberger just did average, okay. But you want to talk about people who did good? Pittsburgh's defense stopped them to 7 points. Stuffed them to 7 points. They had 2 picks, only let go of 1 passing touchdown. That's it, only 1 touchdown in general. James Conner had 100 yards rushing with a rushing TD. They let go of 3 rushing TDs that game and 1 passing TD. My bad. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The Steelers got 3 rushing TDs and 1 passing TD that game. And with that, they ended up beating the Browns, who were 4-1. Now the Browns dropped to 4-2 and are in 3rd place in that AFC North.
AFC North is one hell of a division, man.
It is. And you know what? I think I'm going to be honest, with that win, the Steelers sent a message to the Ravens saying, hey, look, I know you got Lamar and Mark Ingram in that insane defense.
This is our division.
Guess what? Hey, don't let go of that. They'll be overshadowing that yellow and black. And you know what? In my opinion, even as good as the Steelers are, I think people are going to continue overshadowing them just because of the Ravens.
I think the Steelers are a sleeper team just because of the Ravens.
I think they are too. I can definitely see Ravens, Steelers, AFC Championship. I can definitely see that.
All right. So we got our winners and losers for the NFL. Now,
yes, sir.
Let's talk baseball, man. World Series Tuesday night, Dodgers versus Rays. I gotta ask you, man.
Let's
Your bet,
go.
you are lucky as hell, man. Your bet is
Lucky?
still
How am
alive.
I
No,
lucky?
no, no, no. No, man. No, man. Listen, man. All right. Before I ask you this question, I gotta tell you, you're lucky because the Braves were up 3-2 for most of the game, and the Dodgers at the latest point in the game came in clutch with that hitting, man. Now let me out. Now let me. This gets to my question, man. In Game 7 in the NLCS, what exactly went wrong for the Braves, and what went right for the Dodgers?
Your offense only had 3 hits. That's it. That's exactly what went wrong. Even
Eh,
though it's 3 hits with 3 runs, you only had 3 hits. How are you gonna win with 3 hits? You gotta have
yeah.
more hits than that. You're putting a lot of pressure on your pitching, which you shouldn't be. So 3 hits, you really expect if you let go of 3 runs, I mean if you let go of 4 runs, you only had 3 hits for 3 runs. Your offense really didn't do much. Let me explain something to you, okay? Let me just explain something to you. Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna, Ozzy Albies, Nick Markakis. That's probably your top 4 right there. Well, besides Ozuna, that's probably your top 4. That's probably your top 4 players on that team, and not one of them had a hit. So if you look at those are probably the leaders on that team. You know, Markakis is a veteran. Ronald Acuna and Ozzy Albies are like rising stars. Freddie Freeman's a veteran. So when you look at it, if your top 4 hitters don't hit, what kind of energy is that sending? It's
Right.
not sending good energy. Not to mention, Ian Anderson. He let go of 5 hits with 2 earned runs. You know, like, and that's not bad. Don't get me wrong, that's not bad. But in a game like this, where the Dodgers are on
You
your
got
neck,
you got to make the mistakes to a minimum.
yeah, exactly, and they didn't do that. And then Minter gave up the game tying home run to Kiki Hernandez. And then Martin gave up the game-winning home run to Cody Bellinger, and then that's how the game ended. But again, since we're doing wrong, but you know what? There were some good people on the Braves, and I want to get to that. All right, because I don't want anybody to think that the Braves, didn't do anything. Marcell Ozuna had 1 hit, 1 RBI. Swanson 1 hit, 1 RBI and a run. Austin Riley had 1 hit and 1 RBI. So I mean, those guys did really good. Shane Green had one. He what do you call it? He had 1 walk and 1 K with no runs. So Shane Green held his own. And those guys did a really good job for the Braves. But at the end of the day, when you look at only 3 hits in that game 7, and in game 7 that you need more than 3 hits, that's how the Braves failed. Now, Dodgers, on the other hand, let me tell you how they won. Okay, let me tell you key factors in that game 7. Mookie Betts, 2 for 4 with a double. That was a big part right there. He kept the bat hot. Even though he didn't have any homers, he kept that bat hot. Had a double, 2 hits, and that double was very crucial in that game. It kept him in the game. Kiki Hernandez with that game tying home run. That was very that brought them so much energy when they were down. They were down 3-2 when Kiki hit that home run. It brought a whole different energy on that team. And it was slowly draining the Braves' energy as well. Cody Bellinger, when he hit that game leading home run, that sunk a lot of energy out of the Braves right there. But out of those 3 guys, those guys were not the stars of those games. The stars of the one star of this game was Julio Urias. 3 innings, not 1 hit. So in those 3 innings, those 3 crucial last innings, Urias came in, did not allow 1 hit, and stopped the Braves from getting any more runs to tie this game up. And so, in my opinion, the star of Game 7, Julio Urias. But again, we're gonna mention some people who didn't do too good. Again, who didn't do too good on the Dodgers. Gonsolin, he had 2 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, and 3 walks. Again, hitting was good for the Dodgers, and that helped and that saved them. But like stuff like that cost you games. Right there, those
Right.
2 earned runs out of 3. Dustin May, 1 hit, 1 run, and 2 walks. After that, he held his own. Though, after that 1 run, he held his own. He struck out. He struck out some guys, and then they obviously ended up sitting him down for the rest of the game. But again, that stuff right there, those would have been crucial moments in that game. But again, my MVP for Game 7 in the NLCS was Julio Urias. Anything you want to add to that?
I mean, you're absolutely right. There's something I have to add.
Okay, cool. Go to the ALCS. Talk to me what happened there.
Oh man. Well, the Astros more specifically was their pitching. As simple as that. Their pitching. No disrespect to Lance McCullers, he didn't do that. He could have done way worse, but you know what? You give up a 2-run home run in the first inning. That screams. That screams. Oh yeah, I gotta adjust. All right, you get out of the first inning. Second inning, he gives up another home run. And now he gets taken out in the fourth inning. He only went 3 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs. He gave up 2 home runs. He had 7 strikeouts, which is good, which is really good. He had a walk, and at the end of the day, they're both at that point. There's no momentum. Their starters just taken out of the game very early. There's no momentum coming out of that. Take it from me. I play baseball. I know what that's like. Bullpen couldn't hold them. They gave up another run. And, veterans like George Springer and Martin Maldonado, they were hitless that entire game. They couldn't adjust. And you know what? They needed their veterans to come in clutch, and they didn't. As for the Rays, their offense was just purely excellent. I thought I had expectations that the Rays were going to blow this game, and they didn't. They came in clutch. They showed the rest of the world that they're the best in the AL, and they are. Randy Ozanara, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, he had a 2-run home run in the first inning. He ended up becoming the ALCS MVP with 6 home runs in the entire postseason right now, which is just crazy. That's a pretty crazy stat. Mike Zunino came in clutch with a solo home run in the second inning. Charlie Morton went 5 2/3 innings, 2 hits, kept the earned runs at a 0. Only gave up 1 walk, no home runs, 6 strikeouts. That's absolutely incredible. He went very short, but he did the job and he did it right, and that's what matters at the end. Nick Anderson took over, gave up a couple runs. All right. That's fine. You're still down 4-2. But then Pete Fairbanks comes in, closes the game, 3 strikeouts and one in the third inning, 2 hits. Their pitching is really what saved Tampa Bay. And the clutchness came in too with the offense. I think Tampa Bay realized that, oh yeah, we just blew a 3-0 series lead. We gotta come back and win this. And that's exactly what they did. Their offense came in clutch, their pitching came in even more clutch. And you know what? I think that's what won them the game.
Dodgers and Rays, dude. I predicted Dodgers. You predicted the Rays. Look, man, I'm telling you, I already know the jersey. It's gonna look good on you, bro. It's
No,
gonna look good on you.
Likewise, man. Look, all right. World Series predictions. I know you got the Dodgers. What game you think they're winning in?
5.
Wow. Okay.
No doubt. 5.
I think if the Rays win, they win in 7.
Here's the thing. First matchup is. You think Rays in 7? Explain why.
I think Rays in 7. I think this will be, and if the Dodgers win, then that's going to go to 7. I think this is going to be a dogfight. I think we're going to see another Game 7 World Series. It's going to be a good one, though.
Here's the thing. The reason why I say 5 is because I think the Rays are going to win the first game of the series. I really do. Because we got Glasgow going up against Kershaw, and I think Glasgow is going to beat him. I think Glasgow is going to beat Kershaw. Kershaw has proven that he's not a clutch postseason pitcher, but you never know. That could easily change because you remember David Price was like that. He had that tag on him for a long time until 2018 World Series.
Until 2018 World Series with the Sox, he came in clutch.
But I don't think that's going to happen with Kershaw. I think that Kershaw's going to let go of a lot of runs. I think the Dodgers are probably going to lose by maybe 3 runs. If not, it's going to be a shootout, an offensive shootout. But I think that the Rays are going to win that first game. I think the Rays are going to be full-headed. I think they're going to be full. I think not full of themselves, but I think the Rays are going to, I think the Rays are really going to be excited about that first loss. And I think the Dodgers are going to pound them to that. I think the Dodgers are going to slowly drain momentum. And if I had to pick a World Series MVP, you know what? I'm going to go with somebody who really didn't like. I'm going to go with give me Will Smith. I think Will Smith. I think somebody, because they're going to have a game plan for the Mookie Betts. They're going to have the game plan for the Bellingers. They're going to have the game plan for Turner. They're going to have a game plan for Muncy. they're gonna have a game plan for all these dudes who are Kiki Hernandez gonna have a game plan for all these good hitters. But Will Smith, I think, is gonna come in, and I think he's gonna make big things happen. If not mistaken, maybe last year I think it was. Didn't he have like some walk off or something? Didn't he have like a game winner?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I could have sworn he had like some type of game winner, but I think Will Smith is gonna be the World Series MVP in 5 games.
All right. All right,
Hey,
let's turn the tide. Let's go back to football because we forgot to do our Monday Night Football predictions. Oh, wait, speaking of which, the Bills are on right now. Bills and Chiefs. Who you got?
they're playing right now.
They're playing right now. It's the
Okay.
first quarter with a little less than 14 minutes left. Third 10 at Buffalo 26. Who do you think is going to win this
All
game?
right, so it's still early. It's still 0-0, right?
Yeah.
Give me Chiefs. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He is one of the 3 players in the NFL right now with 70 plus scrimmage yards. I think, which is total yards in NFL. I think he's gonna keep riding that wave. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and those 4 wide receivers plus Travis Kelce. It's a pretty deadly combination. They don't have Le'Veon Bell yet. He's coming in next week. But I think the Chiefs are gonna hand the Bills a second straight loss, and I think the Bills are gonna have to look at game film and kind of learn from
Readjust.
that.
I agree. I got nothing to add to it. I think everything you said was correct. Now,
Yeah. And
next game, a
wait, wait,
little bit.
wait, wait. Hold
Hold up.
on. I'm sorry. I want to add something. So the Bills, not only that, their defense is letting go of 28.4 points per game average, and that's against average. Well, you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, so I think this is going to be even worse.
Absolutely. All right, next game's a little tough to decide because we got the Cardinals and Cowboys. Who you got, man?
Give me Cardinals. I think Cardinals
Cardinals?
are going to beat the Cowboys. Yep, because Ezekiel Elliott in all 5 games has not gone over 100 yards rushing. That's number one, and that's big because you're going to need Elliott in this game.
You're gonna need him, right?
Number two,
Dak
DeAndre
Prescott.
Hopkins has had over 5 receptions every game this season, so that's going to be a big one too. And I think he's going to have another 5 receptions, considering the fact that the Cowboys' defense is one of the worst in the league. I think it could possibly be a shootout. I mean, again, Dak's gone, so the
It's a
points
little
might
tougher to
be
tell.
less than what they average are. But I think Kyler Murray, I think DeAndre Hopkins, Kenyon Drake, I think they come in there. I think they light it up. I think this is going to be a shootout, but I think Cardinals win this.
I think Cardinals win it too. All right.
All right, so you got Chiefs and Cardinals as well.
I got Chiefs and Cardinals. That's correct.
All right, I want to go to All right, Nate, I want to go to college football for a second. All right,
All right.
Trevor Lawrence Saturday had a historic game. He had 5 TDs in one half with 350 yards. He ended that game with 404 yards. He went 24 for 32, 5 TDs. He had 1 pick. He averaged 12.6 yards a pass. He had a 97 QBR rating out of 100, which is really good. And yeah, so my question to you is this: Is Trevor Lawrence in the lead for a Heisman?
Yes,
Without a doubt.
without a doubt. This kid is just something else. He he's proven that he was a Heisman Award winner. In years prior. When he won the championship for them a couple years back against Bama. Last year was a bit of a bit of a tough one given that Joe Burrow was lighting up the league, but now it's Trevor Lawrence. Tua and Joe are in the NFL. Now it's his turn to prove that not only is he going to be, the one to look at for, the next big thing in the NFL, but the kid's proved, like you said, the stats are insane. This kid without a doubt is definitely winning the Heisman Award. I can't think of anybody aside from Jamar Chase. Other than that, I can't think of anybody else that has a chance at winning more than Trevor.
Well, I'll say this: I think Jamar Chase has had like a slow year, a little bit. I'm disappointed because I love Jamar Chase,
I
but
love him too.
I'll go further with that. So, college legends are a lot different than NFL legends.
I
One of the
absolutely agree.
biggest one of the biggest college football legends is Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
One thing that Tim Tebow has, not only is a Heisman, he's got 2 national championships. Lawrence already been to 2. He's won 1. If the Clemson Tigers can go back to that national championship and beat whoever the other team is, Trevor Lawrence will go down as one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time. And I'm making that prediction. I think by the time it's all done, I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to be one of the best college quarterbacks of all time. Just some stats for the season that he's had. Um, he's had 1,544 yards, which is ninth in his conference. He's had 15 TDs with only one interception, and he's had a QBR average of 91, which is really good. But again, besides Justin Fields, and Justin Fields plays the 24th. That's going to be his first game because Big Ten's coming back. But I think the guy behind him, honestly, and this is probably his first year as a full starter, is Mac Jones on Alabama. Mac Jones, his season stats are. Sorry, I'm trying to look for them. Hang on a second. God, they ain't showing me his stats. What the hell? I wrote them down with. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. He has 1,518 yards. He has 12 TDs, 2 interceptions. He has a 96.6 QBR rating with 78.3% completion, opposed to Trevor Lawrence's 73. So he beats him in completion percentage and QBR. Pretty good. But again, that's going to be the guy that Trevor Lawrence is going to have to battle this year. Him and Justin Fields. But Justin Fields hasn't played yet. So I do think Trevor Lawrence is going to win the Heisman without a doubt. But Mac Jones is going to be right behind him. And when Trevor Lawrence leaves to go to the NFL, keep that name in your head, Mac Jones, because Mac Jones is going to be the next Alabama quarterback to take him to a national championship and even win it. Not this year, next year though, when Trevor leaves. But that's competition right there, Mac Jones.
I agree.
It's Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones. It's Clemson and Alabama, and it's not even close. Who's third? Doesn't matter who's third. It ain't even close.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Absolutely agree. I got nothing else to add. That hey, let's take a break real quick. We'll be right back. All right, we are back with more, and we gotta turn the tide a little bit.
Wait. I'm sorry, man. Damn, we're unorganized today, Nate. I don't like it. But
it's an off day. It's an off day.
Yeah, but what do you call it? I want to touch up on Alabama and Georgia. I mean,
I was just gonna say that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm glad you did. I thought because Nick Saban actually did coach this game when we didn't think he would because of the positive COVID test that he took, but he got 3 negatives in a row. He was able to coach his team, and I think that they needed him in that sideline in order to beat Georgia, and they beat him pretty decisively, 41 out of 24. Personally, for me, I think stars of that game were Mac Jones. You know, Mac Jones went 24 for 32, just like Trevor. 417 yards. He had 13 yards more than Trevor Lawrence. He had 4 TDs, which is one less than Trevor Lawrence. They each had an interception. He had 13 yards per throw, and he had a 97.7 QBR, which was higher than Trevor Lawrence's. Then you go to the running game. Najee Harris, he had 31 receptions, 152 yards. He had 4.9 yards a carry, which is pretty good, in my opinion. And he had 1 rushing TD. So Alabama's just them alone did absolutely great. Then you go to wide receivers. They had Devontae Smith, who had 167 yards, 15.2 yards per catch with 2 reception TDs. And they had Jalen Waddle, who had 161 reception yards on 6 catches. He averaged 26.8 yards per catch. And he had 1 TD, and he had a 90-yard run. And then you go to I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but John Metechie, third, he had 1 reception TD for like 60-something yards. So overall, Alabama's team did really good offensively.
Explosive. That's the word I'd use.
Explosive. And, you know, Georgia, Stetson Bennett, he really didn't do that good. You know, man, he went 18 for 40, 269 yards. He only had 6.7 yards per throw, which is not that good. He had two passing TDs with 3 interceptions. So I mean, really, he didn't really do that good. But I mean, if I had to point to somebody on that Georgia team that did really good, James Cook. He had 4 receptions, 101 yards. He had 25 yards per catch, which is insane. He had 1 reception touchdown. He had an 82-yard catch. So that's the guy I would highlight in that game. But let me ask you something. Are you surprised that Georgia lost this badly to Alabama?
Yeah, I am actually, because they're number 3. If I'm correct on that, I'm pretty sure they're like a number 3, number
They
2.
weren't. They were number three.
They were
Yeah.
number 3, and that's the craziest part about it. They were number 3. I don't know what they are now. If I'm not sure if you know either, but
Nah.
I thought it was gonna be a shootout. I really thought that's how it was gonna go, and Alabama proved to be the stronger team. And I did not expect Georgia to lose that as bad as they did. But you know what? They came in clutch. Excuse me about that. Saw something stupid, but they came in clutch. They kept the mistakes to a minimum. They got a huge lead and they kept it that way, and that deserves credit.
See, see, this game right here for Alabama, this was big, and not only because it was the number three team in Georgia, but it was also because Alabama showed that, hey, look, it's us and Clemson, it ain't even close. It's as simple as that.
It's
If
gonna stay
Georgia would
that
have
way,
kept this to like a one possession game, a one TD game, maybe even 10 points, then Alabama had questions to answer.
of course.
Because they won 41-24, Alabama just proved it. They were like, hey, look, it's us and Clemson again. There's no LSU this time. It doesn't come down to LSU. Um, again, it's Dabo versus Nick Saban. It's
Of
Trevor
course.
Lawrence versus Mac Jones now. So with that being said, this raises the question: Is there any? Do you believe that there is any team in college football that can challenge Clemson or Alabama and kick them out of top four?
Not that I could think of.
The closest one is like number three, like Ohio State, but the season hasn't even started yet. You can't even tell who, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Their season hasn't even started yet. So like again, it's hard to even tell. Notre Dame is in the top four still, but again, they had a 12-7 win versus Louisville. That's not really impressive. And that 12-7 against Louisville, if you think you're gonna walk in there against Clemson, because I know you play Clemson in 2 weeks on Halloween. If you think you're gonna walk in there on Halloween against Clemson, you got another thing coming. Because Trevor Lawrence is gonna make sure that because Trevor Lawrence
He
is not
lights
only gonna
you lights you up.
he's not gonna Trevor Lawrence ain't gonna in that Clemson offense is not just gonna score 7 points. So you got to make sure you're better offensively or you're better defensively, because right now it's Clemson and Alabama again, whether people like it or not.
And that's how it's gonna be.
It's how it's gonna be for a long, long time, man.
All right. La- we got last topic of the night.
Lomachenko versus
Lomachenko versus
Lopez.
Lopez. Man, the result was absolutely surprising, man. I did not think I don't think both of us didn't think Lopez
Now
was
we
gonna win.
predicted Lomachenko,
Yeah.
and the reason why is because I thought because I know Lomachenko. See, I was watching the fight, and Lopez wins the first round, and I'm like, okay, cool, he had a good first round. Then
Right.
Lomachenko wins the second, and I'm like, all right, it's tied round, like 1-1. Then Lopez wins the round 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the thing is, he was doing exactly what we were talking about. He was hitting the body because he knew Lomachenko, that was his weakness, his body punches. But the one thing that we said was when you go for a body punch, you leave your head open. Lomachenko, and the one thing that surprised me about Lomachenko was he wasn't hitting that head. He wasn't going to hit for that head whenever the body shot was
He
coming.
was leaving it wide open.
And it was annoying me because I'm saying to myself, like Lomachenko, hit this guy. He's leaving his head open. You gotta hit him in his head. But he just kept letting Lopez push him on the ropes and him in his body and put the pressure on him. Lopez was being the aggressor. And so with that being said, I thought to myself, I was like, he's annoying me, but you know what? 8, 9, 10, and 11, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is where Lomachenko's at his best. This is where the guys get knocked out. And this was the test. This was the test right here. I said if it goes past 6, Lopez don't win this fight. He proved me wrong. He said, Mario, shut up and watch me beat Lomachenko for these 4 belts. And what I noticed, but it wasn't starting out that way. Lomachenko for 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, he was coming back. And I think he won 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, round 7 through 11. So with that being said, if I'm correct, because a lot of people thought about that, it was 6 rounds to 5 going Lomachenko. They go into the 12th round and Lopez beats him in the 12th round decisively. He beats him and he won that 12th round. I thought to myself, this is going to be a draw. They're going to keep their belts. I'm going to have to do this a second time. I'm
They
looking
gave
at the
it to
TV.
Lopez.
Yeah, I'm not mad that they give it to Lopez. When I thought, like, you know what? It's either a tie or one fighter won by 1 round. That's what I thought. I look at the judges; they're voting at 119 to 109. I'm saying that whole fight. You think Lomachenko only won 1 round? Come on.
Yeah, that's ridiculous because I
He won 7 through
he
11.
won 7 through 11, and that's the crazy part is that it should have went. They went. They each won 6 rounds. I think personally they should have had they should have had like a 1 rounder to determine who is gonna win this.
Boxing really doesn't do that. You only it's either like a
Yeah,
dr- you it's just like a draw. I mean that would be cool, but like again, they just kind of. I thought that was going to be a
or
draw.
or
I
just a
thought
whole nother
Lopez and
fight entirely. That'd be nice to see too.
yeah, I thought Lopez and Chanko were both going to come out there as a draw. Lomachenko was going to keep his 3. Lopez was going to keep his 1. But you know what? Lopez proved that he can go the distance with one of the best distance fighters in Vasyl Lomachenko. This is the guy who won't get hit a lot. Vasyl Lomachenko did not get hit a lot. And I said it. I said Lomachenko faced a lot of experienced fighters, but Lopez is going to be his toughest fighter to date. And Lopez showed it. And Lopez, because of that win, he is the first ever undisputed lightweight boxing champion in history. And he's only the 5th, I believe, in the modern era.
And
So
you know what? There's credit for it too. I give credit to both fighters.
I do too. Lomachenko put up a
Lomachenko
great fight.
put up a great fight. He was losing midway. He came right back. Lopez was absolutely shattering that defense. His Lomachenko's defense with that aggressive offense. That I gotta give credit on both sides. Great fight
But through
overall.
7 through 11, Lomachenko was picking up that offense. His foot was on that pedal, and he was putting Lopez in some uncomfortable situations. But here's what really surprised me. So Lomachenko went 141 out of 321. Lopez went 148 out of 364
Right,
on his power punches alone. Okay, total he went 183 for 650 out of 659. So looking at those stats right there, Lomachenko was the more accurate fighter that fight.
right.
He had the better percentage coming in. He had the better percentage of better hit percentage than Lopez. You can look at the stats. The only time Lopez actually beat him, actually out hit him by percentage was the 12th round.
Right.
Here's the thing, and that's what surprised me because I didn't think Lomachenko was doing that good offensively, but he really was. I don't think he was really doing that good offensively. But when I saw the stats, I was like, oh my God, Lomachenko was actually pretty accurate. Here's the one thing though. That don't matter. What matters is who's the aggressor. That's what always matters. Who is the aggressor? And for those first 5 out of 6 rounds, Lopez was the aggressor. From 7 through 11, it was Lomachenko. And then Lopez waited to that 12th round to go back to being the aggressor. And that 12th round was amazing. That 12th round, they were just swinging and swinging and swinging. And it was just hits after hits after hits. But Lopez beat him in that 12th round, in my opinion. Another thing I want to touch up on Lopez. His dad, his father, his trainer,
Hmm.
in the 12th round, before the 12th round started, he said, keep your distance. He said, keep your distance and just outbox him, just stay out of danger. Lopez went swinging in that 12th round. Now, when they asked him about it, the interviewer asked him, how come you went swinging? He says, I'm a fighter. He says, I didn't know what the judges were going to score this card. That right there shows me Lopez's intelligence, okay? Because anybody can listen to a trainer. You know what I'm saying? If we're in a boxing ring, and the trainer is talking to me and he's like, keep your distance, I'm going to keep my distance because that's the boxing trainer, right?
Right.
But this is one thing you see a lot in football. A lot of great quarterbacks, they'll see their coach will call a play, and if they don't like the play, they'll audible the play.
Right. Right.
Tom Brady done it many, many times. He audibles the play, changes it to something different, and that's what veteran guys do. Lopez at 23 called it boxing audible on his father and ended up winning that 12th round. In my opinion, if I was the judge for that fight, if he didn't call that audible, I think Lomachenko keeps those titles.
Right.
In my opinion, the round 7 was crucial because it was 38% Lopez, 37% Lomachenko. But Lopez threw no, I'm sorry, 38 Lomachenko, no, 37 Lomachenko and 38 Lopez. But Lomachenko threw more punches,
It's crazy
and
to
that's
think
probably why
that
Lomachenko. I go.
he called that audible. At 23 years old, you think that those athletes at that young age have to experience more, but like there are some young athletes out there that have that experience and they know their opponent like that, and That was crazy how he did it, and I give him credit for that. He knew. He just knew.
Right. And this right here, I'm gonna say this is better. This is better than him knocking out Lomachenko, because if he knocked out Lomachenko, that doubt about him, Lomachenko's he would have probably fell, but the doubt about him being not going the distance, it would have kept coming. Lopez proved, hey, look, I can go the distance against one of the best distance fighters ever, one of the best defensive fighters, and I can beat him going the distance too. So now Lopez got 4 belts on him, plus a fifth because they gave him a fifth. But what Lopez showed to me there was not only his power, which we knew he had, not only like his underrated defense, which we knew he had, but his boxing IQ, which we didn't think he had. We didn't think he had this good of a boxing IQ, but he did. He on his dad, he called that audible in the 12th round, didn't follow what his dad said, and went in there and went swinging. Now I'm not saying his dad's dumb or nothing like that. His dad's a smart guy. I think his dad was just making a mistake. I think his dad thought he was well ahead than what he was, which he was, but he was well ahead according to the judges. But in my opinion, looking at that fight, he wasn't well ahead. It was all going to come down to who wins that 12th round. And Lopez won that 12th round. In my opinion, because Lopez being the aggressor, because him going to the body so much and opening up Lomachenko's head, Lopez ended up becoming an undisputed lightweight champion. So now that leads him. Now he wants to fight all the big fighters. So next up, October 31st on Halloween on Showtime Boxing, we got Leo Santa Cruz versus Gervonta Davis, and that's going to be a good fight. That's going to be a very, very good fight because whoever wins that fight is coming after Lopez. And I hope it's Gervonta, because I think Gervonta Davis versus Teofimo Lopez, 2 power hitters, is going to be a lot better than Santa Cruz versus Lopez. But Lopez, hey, look, it's one thing to win the belt. It's the other thing to defend it. And Lopez got to be ready for all these challenges coming his way. Because you can be a Buster Douglas and knock out Mike Tyson, but then you can lose your titles the next fight.
Exactly.
Lopez does not want his legacy to come down to that.
You gotta be willing. You gotta be willing to fight strong. Keep knowing your not enemies, opponents, and knocking them to the ground. That's what you gotta do. Defend that title like it's your pride, like it's your love of your life. That's what you gotta do.
Right. And he showed his IQ, and hopefully he continues to show that IQ in the boxing ring. Hopefully, hey, and I'm hoping that Lopez has a successful career, because I really like this boxer. I really like him. He proved to me that he can beat Vasyl. Next up is Tank Davis or Leo Santa Cruz, in my opinion. That's the fight that you need to start fighting. You want all the challengers, you got to go after them. It's as simple as that. You got to make sure that your legacy, when you retire, is undenied. You got to make sure that when they look at these fights and who fought, that you didn't take the easy way out of your career. So anyway, congrats to Lopez. Lomachenko,
man.
He'll be back. Lomachenko will be back.
Definitely,
he'll definitely want that rematch. But yeah, I mean, Lopez outboxed him. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect Lopez to go the distance.
Much respect to both men. Both men put up a great fight. Good luck to Lopez. You got fight your heart out, man. You know what I mean? Like fight for that title like it's your last. That's really the best I could say it.
Right. All right, Nate, did we go through all the topics today?
I think we did.
All right, Nate. What do you call it? All right, everybody. That is the end of this episode. Thank you for tuning in to All You Can Talk Sports. I'm your boy M-Carp, aka Mark. And come back for episode 3.
Episode 3 tomorrow.